Welcome to Historical Fiction Highlight, where I focus on one historical fiction author and all of the books that they've written. Today's video will be focused on Yaa Gyasi. Hi, I'm Lacey, I love to read. Thanks for coming to my channel. I randomly got this idea to do a historical fiction highlight where I focus on one author and all of the books they've written and kind of just give an overview of each book, my review, my rating, and hopefully introduce you either to a new author or to talk with someone who's loved the same books as you. So the first author that I found that I have read all of her books is Yaa Gyasi. So we are going to focus on Homegoing and Transcendent Kingdom today, and I'm really excited to talk about her books and hopefully introduce you to an amazing author. So I'm focused on Yaa Gyasi, and she was born in Ghana and then moved to the United States and grew up in Alabama. And she wrote 2 books so far. She has written Homegoing and she has written Transcendent Kingdom. They are both historical fiction set in different scenarios. So they are not continuations of each other. They're completely separate books, and I'm really excited to talk about each one. So the first book I have is Homegoing, and Homegoing is her debut novel, and it is amazing. I rated it 5 stars. It is 300 pages, and this book is set in Ghana to begin with. It follows 2 different women who are both in Ghana, and then it follows their generations for 8 generations. I don't know if that makes sense. I don't know if I said that right, but basically it follows their family line for 8 generations. Both women, although born in Ghana, had very different experiences, as one was married to an Englishman and lives in the castle, while the other is sold into slavery. And so each chapter is a different perspective from someone in each family line. So in the beginning, it's the 2 women from Ghana, and then it goes down to one of each of their children. It is such a beautiful story of how different people's lives can be given either where they're born or where they end up. And it's so interesting to see the direct comparison because each chapter is focused on that generation. And so you're immediately seeing where one of those family members ended up versus the other. And you'll see there's some almost universal similarities while there's some very stark differences in how they're living and what their life is like. And it's just crazy how in the end it kind of ties together in a beautiful way. And I just found that after this book, I realized what a beautiful writer Yaa Gyasi is. And I just love the way that she tells stories. And so when I saw this book, and this book was really popular, so I saw this online and I chose to pick it up. But one time when I went back to the bookstore, I saw that she had another novel, which I've not seen as much about. And this novel is very different than the other book. So Transcendent Kingdom is her second novel, and this book was 288 pages and I rated it 4.25 stars. So this book is vastly different, which is nice to see that she's already branching out to so many different types of stories only within 2 books. So this book is about Gifty. Also, I could be saying names wrong. I tried really hard to get her first name and her last name right. I watched videos of her saying her name, so I tried really hard to get that right, but I know that there could be other names that I am not pronouncing right. So this book follows Gifty, and Gifty is a PhD student at Stanford studying neuroscience. And so she's doing a study on reward-seeking behavior within mice and their relation to depression and addiction. And the reason she's doing this is because her brother got injured as a teenager and became addicted to opioids, and it ended up taking his life. She's also living with her mother, who is suicidal due to everything that happened to her brother. And so she's really trying to figure out how the brain works in relation to addiction and drug use. It is a really, really heartbreaking story at times, and it gives you a glimmer of hope as well within her relationship with her mother. And she also experiences a lot of revelations and kind of trying to understand her relationship with her evangelical upbringing and her relationship with the church and religion. So it's a very layered book. There's a lot to it. And I think that this book would have been a higher star if I related more to it. I think that this book could speak to a lot of people who are experiencing these different things. And while there are some aspects of this book that I do relate to, overall, I personally didn't relate as much to her experience understanding her spirituality, understanding her religion and her relationship with religion after a huge loss that felt like, how could this happen? And why would this happen to my family with her brother? And so I just thought, though, it's another show of how beautiful Yaa Gyasi's writing is and what kind of compelling stories she can talk about that are so layered. And I just really think that no matter what she writes, I'm going to pick it up because I know that she's going to tell a beautiful story. I haven't been able to find any information if she's coming out with a third book or when, because it seems like she definitely is going to continue writing, but I don't know when that will happen. But all I know is that if you want a beautiful story, something very compelling and will make you think and have empathy for others and kind of put yourself in shoes that are not your own, I think her books are beautiful and I think they're definitely worth picking up. I absolutely think that you should start with Homegoing, which is her first novel, and if you love her writing, which I think it would make a lot of sense if you do because it's beautiful, then to go into Transcendent Kingdom or whatever book you feel speaks to you, because I think that's always the best way to pick a book. But I'm really interested to see if anyone else has read her books and what you think of them. And that is all I have for today's historical fiction highlight. I really appreciate you being here and coming to my channel. I'd love to know what authors you'd like me to highlight in the future, and I can hopefully get on reading their books. But thank you so much for watching my video and being a part of this book community, and I hope that the books that you're reading are bringing you joy.